All right, so this is Bob Schlueter. I'm Charlie, and Bob. We're going to be cooking outside today, huh?
We are. First thing we're going to do is get the fire going. We have some shrimps that we're going to be cooking on the grill, and we want to get this
shrimps over there.
Get this fired up. You got these fancy new.
There we go. So we got it's a gas starter, and then of course we use a chimney.
That's slick.
In lieu of lighter fluid.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna let the fire.
And that takes about 10 minutes, right, or so, somewhere in that area.
So we're gonna let this roll, and then we're gonna go over and talk about your experience.
Okay.
In the community.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be back in a second. Hi, I'm Charlie from CookingSecretsForMen.com, and as you saw in the opening, we're outside. This is another episode of Cooking with Community Leaders. This is a special edition on location in Leland, Michigan. So I'd like to introduce my guest. It's my good friend, Bob Schlueter. Bob.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, Charlie. Thanks for inviting me.
So Bob is the former executive director of the Area Agency on Aging in Northwest Michigan. Retired 2 years ago?
A couple of years ago.
Yep, right, 2 years ago. Is it before you got into, and you were there a long time?
I was.
37 years?
34 years.
34 years.
Place, yes.
So you're there 34 years. So, but before you got into working for the Area Agency on Aging, that's a tongue twister.
Right, it is.
You had a wide variety of jobs and volunteer work and civic engagement here in Leland. And I think the first one you had, if I'm not mistaken, was as a lifeguard.
I was.
Down at here in the Lake Leelanau, down I don't know, quarter mile or so.
Right.
As you were a lifeguard as a teenager.
I was.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's where you met your wife.
I did, and I also met your wife down there too. They used to come down and we'd sit and talk. I was always doing my job, but yes, it was a great place to work. I was there for 9 years, best job in town for a teenager up to whenever, early 20 years old.
So you're like John Belushi at 7 years of college.
Yes.
Very good. So beyond the lifeguard, you had a wide variety of jobs here in Leland. I know you were at the school board.
Oh yeah, school board for 12 years.
And then you were a volunteer fireman.
For 6 years, did that.
And then you were involved in the township council?
No, not really. Improvement Association for over 20 years, which is kind of the council. We're not an incorporated town, so we don't have a council, but we have some governing groups that put together all the activities and take care of the stuff that a small town needs to have taken care of, just so it functions efficiently.
So, and one of the things that just recently happened is you were the MC of the 4th of July parade here in Leland, all of 4 days ago.
I was honored to be asked to I've watched it every year for I don't know how many years, 50 years, and they finally said, well, we better ask them now. And but I asked a friend of mine to join me, and Tom Bischoff, and the two of us were fortunate to represent through our voices all of these wonderful parade entrants and a lot of service people, and it was a great parade, which it is every year.
So did I miss any of your other civic engagements that you want to mention?
Well, I think probably the most important thing about my civic engagements is I grew up in a family. My parents were very involved in the community, and that's where I got my interest. And I was raised constantly hearing, if you're not going to be involved, then keep your mouth shut. So I like to talk, I like to be involved, so that's where it all started, was from family saying, let's do this all together. So, and it helps when you have support with and somebody to follow, like a good mom and dad who were very involved in the community.
So your community involvement is well known. Leland, as Bob mentioned, is a small town, and it takes everyone in the town to make it run. And Bob's been doing that, ever I'd hate to see how many years it is now, but let's say it's been a while.
Yes, yes. I used to deliver newspapers, all kinds of things through the local. Yeah.
So let's talk about the area agency on aging for Northwest Michigan,
Okay.
which I believe is Region 10.
Region 10.
Region 10. Okay.
10 counties, all
Right.
Northwest. If you hold your hand up like this in Michigan, it's this part of Michigan, the 10 counties in Northwest Michigan. And it was a private nonprofit. I was there, like I said, for 34 years. The last 10 years, executive director, and 20 years prior to that, the deputy director. So I was involved in pretty much all of the capacities, working with the state and the federal government, and it was working with individuals, primarily elderly people over the age of 55, that wanted to stay in their home.
You realize that includes us now.
I know, many times over. But yeah, they were. It was a job that really tugged at my heart. I mean, getting back to my family, my parents were older than normal when they got married and had kids. So I was surrounded by elderly people my entire growing up years, and this was just felt like a piece of the puzzle to get involved in a job like that. And then my wife and I built a small assisted living home in Leland, which we could carry that on. And my wife, Arden, she ran that, and I was known as Plunger Man because we had 11 toilets, and that was and mowing the lawns and things like that, and conversations. I was a great talker with all of the people who lived there.
So were you a better plunger man or a better conversationalist?
Well, sometimes I had to do both at the same time to find out what I was plunging, but it was it was good. It was a wonderful opportunity for both of us, and we still hear. We sold it, I think, 4 or 5 years ago now. And we still hear people saying what a wonderful addition to this community Effie was and continues to be. So.
Well, my wife and I were hopeful that you'd continue to own Effie, so when it was our turn, we could just slide in there.
You're not the first person to tell us.
I'm probably. All right, so what was the mission of the agency? What was the overall?
The mission of the agency was to keep people in their homes as long as possible. So you put together a care plan of services, some of it technical, some of it just simple transportation services. And then you have staff, we had nurses and social workers and nutritionists that would work with the care plan. Most people, I say most because not 100%, but most people want to stay in their homes as long as possible.
Sure.
And but there does come a time when they can't stay in their home anymore because they may not have support systems around them. And so what we do is we also help them move into another long-term care setting, like a nursing home or another assisted living home or something like that. So.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about your family. Know them very well, obviously.
Yes,
know
you
them
do.
For your wife and 2 of your daughters were in our wedding.
Yes, they were.
Which was 32 years and 1 week ago.
All right.
Right back there in the front yard in front of the lake.
Congratulations.
Thanks. So talk a little bit about your family, and I'm going to warn you, you have a limit of 45 minutes to talk about your grandchildren.
Okay, that's each one gets 45 minutes, Charlie?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, I have 7 grandchildren. I have 3 children of our youngest is a son and 2 older daughters, and they are quite simply the star of our lives, and our life revolves around them. They are all living with us right now. But July is a busy family time for us. We're very fortunate to have 3 of them live right next door, and the 3 of them come in from New York, and 1 comes in from Denver, and they all make a big effort. Small town again. They're all very close to this town. All of their friends are here. And so it's just a wonderful time. And all the kids, the oldest is 7, and then it drops immediately to 5. So now the 7-year-old feels like a 24-year-old when he's with the other one. So it's very interesting, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. It's just unbelievably wonderful.
Now, can you name all the grandchildren?
I can. Did you want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we'll start with Rook is the oldest, and then we have twins of Max and Claire. And then we have Eleanor, came along shortly after the twins. And then we have Sutty, which is Sutton as his whole name, real name, S-U-T-T-E-N. and that should be 7 if I counted correctly. So yeah, I try to review that every morning before I get moving. So
Very good. It's one of those mental things that help your mental acuity.
Yes, it
All right,
is.
great. All right, so as we saw in the opening, we started a fire on the grill. So what are we preparing today for cooking with community leaders?
Well, we're going to do shrimp, simple shrimp I call it, simple garlic buttered shrimp. That's when the grandkids or anybody knows we're having dinner, that a lot of them say, are we having your shrimp tonight? And I say simple because I've gone through, like you, not as much as you have, but different recipes for shrimp, and I like all kinds of shrimp. And but this one it catches the taste buds, and it's simply regular clean shrimp with garlic, salt, and butter. And I never spare the butter, so it's dripping with butter as it's cooking on the grill. Messy to eat, wonderful to eat. I know you're a big butter lover, and I appreciate that.
And garlic.
And garlic. Oh yes, you love garlic too. And so it has, occasionally I'll use crushed raw garlic, but I found out that if there's anything that some people, if it gets too garlicky, then, so the garlic salt, if you have a good garlic salt, tends to put the nice flavor in there. So,
Oh, here we go. So you don't get your nice shirt dirty.
Oh my gosh.
Give you one of our aprons. This is our ongoing joke that have a community leader come in, have them talk about their life, have them cook something, then we eat it, and then you get an apron.
And
So
I get the apron right at the beginning, right? So.
yeah. So you get on it. All right. So let us have a chance to set up.
All right.
The coals are almost ready, and then we'll put them on. It won't take long. And
I
then,
get to keep this, right? Okay, never mind.
Yes, of course you get to keep it. But then I think we have to taste them, don't we?
Absolutely.
We're having other people for dinner tonight, and this is part of the appetizer, so we can't eat a lot. But I think it's only fair.
We can eat them all.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Okay. So tell the guests to go fend for themselves for appetizers. So, all right. Well, thanks. We'll be back in just a second.
Thank you.
All right, Bob.
All right.
Here we go.
I think we're ready. As we talked, I wanted to just remind everybody that shrimp is a great grill food because you have to watch everything on the grill. I don't butter them initially. I'm going to just leave them like this for now. But you can undercook them. It's more important not to undercook shrimp. But it takes a while to overcook them and ruin them. So it's like I said, it's a nice thing on the grill because you have to be really bad to ruin them. So I'm going to let it sit here for maybe not a lot, but just kind of to heat up the shrimp and get them on the warm side. And then I'm going to start putting. You can see they've already started to change a little color here. So I'm going.
So baste them a little. So you've already put garlic salt in the butter.
Yes.
Okay.
There's lots of garlic salt in the butter. Most of it is. I like to get it melted, and you'll see this is where it paid for me to be on the fire department. But you do not spare the butter. In fact, you want to be careful, obviously. Now this is where you want to tighten her up a little bit. Make sure that the flame will stop. And I can't give you exactly the minutes it takes, but it doesn't take very long to cook shrimp. These are medium-sized shrimp, and so it's.
So I had one question food related. So Tom Garvey, my good friend Tom Garvey, the keto cook.
Yes.
This is Bob Schlueter, who is the keyboardist for Satin Jacob, the music that you sometimes play on your shows.
Oh, okay.
So Tom Garvey is a good friend of mine, and
well, he obviously is a talented person and has good taste with music. So
absolutely.
Thanks, Tom, for listening to that. I love it.
All righty.
All right. So now all I'm going to do is we're going to flip them over. I've been asked, how do you know that when they're done? Well, the hardest and most painful way to know is to break one in half and make sure that it's white all the way through. There are ways as you cook more and more, they like meat, they will take on a different movement when they get to a certain.
And they also turn.
Yes, and they
get a little color on them.
Right.
instead of the nice gray color they come from in the
Right.
store. Oh,
I
more butter?
I forgot to butter.
All right, remember, no such thing as too much butter.
Right.
All right. And it looks
So I'm
like
gonna let
there's...
this one sit for a little bit longer than the first two. So.
Okay. So it looks like what was in there, one skewer for me and you, and then one skewer for the other 5 people.
Yeah, if we want to share that with them. I mean,
Well, maybe not.
I know shrimp is shrimp and beef together. I mean, shrimp goes with everything. It's just really a wonderful. And these, like I said, these are local shrimp from Lake Leland. Oh no, just kidding.
Right. There's Lake Leelanau. We love it up here. And this comes under the heading, we can edit anything.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, you can see that they've got a nice color on them.
Yep. They only stick. They really only stick the first time you turn them. And you notice how they're all staying in order right there, lined up. I talked to them all before I started cooking them. I said, you know, we're going to be on a show, and I want you to behave yourself. So
They seem to be following orders.
they are.
All right. All right, so we're just about finished here. You can see that they've changed colors nicely. So we're going to let them finish. We'll take them off the grill. Do we let them rest?
Yeah, I'd let them rest a little bit.
We're going to let them rest a little bit, and then we'll head over to our fancy picnic table right here, and then we'll have a little bite.
All right, sounds good.
All right, here we are. We just had our, just took them off the grill. I'll show them to you.
They look good.
Bob, remind everybody what we have here.
We have garlic, salted, buttered, heavily buttered shrimp, and lots of butter. Remember, that's the key. Lots of butter.
So we will have to try these just to make sure they're...
I'm going to beat you right now.
They're tasteful. Tasty, not tasteful.
Tasty. Mm. What do you think?
Well, the shrimp are great, and then you have they have the grill, the smoke from the grill, and the garlic is not overpowering. It's just
Right.
it's noticeable, but
Well, thank you.
okay, one more.
I want to thank you for inviting me on the show here.
Excuse me for 1 second while I eat it. Thank you. Thank you
to
for
see
all
you.
your work
Thank you. Appreciate
in the
it.
community for all these years. Enjoying your retirement
I
here
am.
in Leland.
It's getting better every day.
Good. And you have all of your grandchildren here right now.
All of them. So it's kind of nice to be right here, right now with you. But yes, we'll be going back there tonight. It's a total wonderful chaos.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. We like to spotlight our community leaders. I live in Milwaukee, but this is my second home and love it up here. And there are a lot of people who have made Leland a great place to live, and Bob is one of them. Appreciate everyone's support. Please like and subscribe. Please view our other videos, Cooking with Community Leaders. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Bobby.